Supportables, I look a little bit better, not a whole lot, but I got a little bit more sleep than last time, so that's a plus. Did miss out on the Christmas start. I tried to get a bit early, but obviously life doesn't always let us do this. I know there's also some people in our league that life has had a massive shift in the past week, so congratulations, Jules and Paul, and I do not want to try and enunciate the name because it's Irish and I'll probably just say it wrong. It's probably it's a very, very, very simple name. It probably is simple, but of course, it could actually be read backwards or upside down. So I'm going to wait till I hear it first, till I say it on a camera. But anyway, congratulations. As for fantasy football, what's crazy about now is you think it's like the pinnacle and it's super important, but it really is only important for 3 or 4 of us here. And I say that because, there's pride. There's not wanting to be tub thumped, but it all comes down to 2 teams now. You probably know what those teams are, but we're going to go over it first. Maybe there's a little bit of suspense. Then we'll get to our finals. Nor can I hate to say it, but a repeat tub thumping can potentially happen here. That's what you were trying to stave off. Now, both teams have had the same issue. You had QB5 against QB1. Now, on the flip side to this, Norcan, you did have the kicker 4, but you also had a 0.2 on one of your running backs, where I'd say if we go on the flip side here, 4th, what you did, I think, a little bit better was just more consistency. You were still below predicted, but not super drastically. You actually were both below predicted. This is how it was supposed to go, just not maybe quite as low scoring. If we look on the bench here, a lot of the people actually stood up. Justin Jefferson's bold call. I don't blame you. He's been someone you'd want to bench the whole year, but this is one of the times he actually could have helped you out. On the flip side, for running backs, you did need some running back support. You didn't really have much. But a lot of your receivers, you did have a few options that could have made this a bit tighter. Is what it is. 4th and Conquer, you get to go for the Consolation Championship next week. And Norcan, sorry to say it, but that repeat tub thumping is in play. Battling your partner in the playoffs is never great. Battling in a consolation is kind of worse. Losing and end up in the tub thumping game, I don't have to say it. Now, Jackie, on the positive, you do get out of this particular set. You've been around here the last little bit. You are a former tub thumper, but you don't have to worry for that. You're going to be going for the Consolation Championship. You didn't have a whole lot of people go off, but Warren certainly did. He was the running back 2. On my end, it was more the highs and the lows. My defense was the defense 5, so good for me there. Tight end 3. He's been a huge pickup. Man, if someone else would have gotten him for the playoffs, he's been definitely an all-star for the last 2 weeks. Of course, it didn't really matter for me so much. My problem was, Josh Allen, if he's not my best player, I'm just not going to win. I don't have a whole lot. My receivers were garbage. And then injuries. You're going to hear a lot about that this week in games that matter even more. There is nothing worse. You don't want injuries just in general on a personal note, but you really don't need injuries at the beginning of a game, and then you really don't want that in the playoff. Trayvon Henderson actually was a little bit of a fantasy killer on this one. If you take a look at our bench, we both had options. Benching my 2 better running backs, that could have probably helped in my flex and running back spot, maybe even putting me into the hunt, but not there. Like I said, I go where Josh Allen goes. He's potentially even hurt, putting me in desperate threat of tub thumping. Jackie, you get to play for the Consolation Championship next week. It's not as glamorous, but the season is over for both Malakovs and Ball Too Well. Now, I'm pretty sure, Juliet, congratulations, by the way. I think you've got something else to worry about. Not worry about, but maybe take up your time. So an earlier exit this year, I appreciate that might not be the worst, although I'm sure you would rather stay in it. You did have the QB4, the kicker 3, the defense 1, huge pickup by the Saints, so congrats on that. You also had a running back 3 in Chase Brown, so he hasn't been your stud the whole time. I'd say flip the script on Brown and Taylor here. You also did have some love on your bench here. Chris Olave, the Saints, not surprisingly, were kind of maybe surprisingly, but a powder keg against the Jets. You didn't need it, though. You were a high scorer, so this was one where you're kind of upset because had you been in the semifinals, you would be going to the finals. Ball Too Well on your side, you did have a wide receiver 4 performance, if we scroll down, in Pickens, but just didn't get enough. Trey McBride's been one of your people, and I mentioned in the last one, almost every single loss here is going to have a position player that went down early. Jordan Love getting hurt really hurts you, especially that head-to-head. That might be actually having impact on next week, but for you, it does not matter for the next week. This was to decide our 5-6. It is decided. Your season is now done. Now you can start rebuilding for next year. Coming into the Monday Nighter, Team Kickass was 31 points down. And if you look here, we can already tell which two people they had. 31. McCaffrey almost did it on his own. So you'd love to say this was like a come from behind, vicious. It was over pretty early. If you're watching that game and waiting, they kind of had control. You saw the way it was going to go. So congratulations, Kickass. You are well, we're going to get to this in a second. I don't want to spoil, but I think everyone already knows. You're one of our two champions. You were returning to not only win this year, but be our first two-time champion. And you're going to be the only option on that. Kittle was the tight end 1. You had the running back 4 in CMC. And like I said, could not have come at a better time. On the flip side to this, Raw Doggers, you've had your quarterbacks come out. They were quarterback 2 and quarterback 3. It's not like you went under. You definitely went over predicted. I think your problem was the wide receivers. Drake London was probably on a bit more of a snap count than they were letting on. And Keelan Allen, that's the double down against Dallas. I don't blame you. Almost everybody throws against Dallas. I mean, Herbert did. He just chose other people to throw to. Looking at the benches, you pretty much made all the right calls. That wasn't going to decide one. Look, you went up against a 158. That's going to be tough to beat. You needed a couple more people, especially your wide receivers, to go off. You're going to be playing for the bronze medal game, even though, like I said, maybe the teammates want to take over. Minds might be elsewhere. Team Kickass, you're looking for 2 in 3 years. Not too shabby. The dream is done for Bench Don't Kill My Vibe. You were going to be the first repeat champions, are only in first, back-to-back champions. You had a phenomenal season. You're still doing okay. But then there was Pamela just grinding it out in the regular season, having her big weeks, having her down weeks. We don't want to point to anyone in particular, but let's be honest, Paka Nakua might have just sealed the victory by himself. Now, you didn't just roll over here. You did have James Cook has been a phenomenal running back for the last few weeks. He was the running back 5. On the flip side, we already know the wide receiver 1. And actually, for anyone else in the top 5, we got to scroll all the way down. Genty could have made this a lot more of a blowout. We look at Quentin Johnson, could have made this one a bit more interesting. Realistically, I don't want to just keep saying it over and over again. We had some injuries. Harrison didn't have a phenomenal, but at least that's in your flex. Mahomes going out, taking Minshew was a bit of a gamble. Like when against Tennessee, you would have thought, and he's put up big numbers in the past, but then the injury hits and it all goes down. 8 rushing yards, 15 passing yards. You just needed anything from a quarterback. Now, looking at other options, you didn't have any. Well, Mariota, because he was also knocked out, so he wouldn't have been a great option either way. There were some people, but only needing 10 points probably is frustrating, but it is what it is. It's why you play fantasy sports. It's why we love and hate it all at the same time. You still get to play for a bronze, and you still did cash in as being our regular season champion. Pamela, you get to be our third winner in 3 years, and I think our first one with a regular season under 500. A lot of underdog status here. The Tub Thumping Bowl has already started. Christmas Day has hit. We both got out there and got some performances, both just over predicted and then kind of an underdog here. Let's be honest. I think this one's going to come down to our big guns. If Josh Allen can come out and have a great outing, I got a shot. If Stafford comes out, he's got a shot. We've got a lot of question marks in between, a lot of maybes, teams that you don't necessarily want to see. Now, I'm not 100% sure if they have made up all of their decisions. I'm kind of pumped they didn't put Addison in. We know Lamar Jackson is doubtful, but we don't really know. And being it's a Saturday game, you got to make the decision a little bit early. You got Baker, you got Stafford, so you got the horses here. I really do think this is going to come to, can we, knock on wood, avoid the injuries, or can we just have 1 or 2 guys go off? They can both breathe a sigh of relief. They will not be tub thumping, but there is something to be said for the Consolation Championship. There's only 2 real teams that can finish the season winning their last 2 games, and that's the champion and the Consolation Champion. In this particular case, we already see that some people have underperformed on the Christmas days. Wouldn't be too worried about that. I think in a similar vein, both are just looking to get in, get their points, enjoy their holidays. You don't really want to finish the season on a losing mark, and everyone in this contest is competitive, so best of luck to see who our Consolation Champion will be this season. The rest of them are for a little bit of cash. Do remember we are the kind of league that pays out for third, so you are playing for something. Our 1 and our 2 are both upset, both in the consolation. This pretty much could have been our final. We'll see how it pans out. Already, I mean, off to a Gibbsian start in that case. He's been high or low, mostly high. So Cerberus and Raw Doggers, apologies for that one. However, on the flip side of the coin, we've got, because of injuries, Phillip Rivers is getting a start. So honestly, anything can happen. I do think the shiftiness of someone like Cook, he just seems to be a snowball all-star. I think he'd be an interesting one to watch. I don't think either of your defenses have great matchups this week, so really it's going to come down to if they can make a big play. And honestly, in the type of situation we're dealing with, we see all of the weather. Being in a dome stadium, a couple of these teams might have some benefits. I don't know if they're going to go for anyone on their benches here. I don't know if they're looking to make pickups, but either way, I think that Gibbs one is on to play, but don't be shocked if at least one of bench's players goes down. I think this is going to come down to the wire. On to our final, which has already gotten off to a great start. It was predicted to be close. It's still predicted to be close. Get the defense and your kickers out of the way. Although kickers, I've made the right call again. If we take a look, we already know that you still keep your second kicker, just in case. You can drop him now, by the way. Right now, I mean, you don't get to keep anyone for next year. So just a thought. On the flip side, like I said, sometimes these injuries are what play in. Javonte Williams did score the touchdown and then got hurt. That's not what you want. However, I think we can see here, loaded gun here. We've got a couple of 49ers that saved you last week, couple of big time receivers. Same on the other side. Is it going to be JSN or Puka Nacua that comes out with the 40-point performance? Honestly, not what you expect. The Geno Smith, Caleb Williams, Kirk Cousins, and then Drake May as our quarterbacks for a Superflex league, but is what it is. Hoping this comes down to the wire. Love the fact that the 1 and 2 are out, and these are both teams that have something to prove. One to have a first team ever with 2 championships. One for her first championship. Best of luck, everybody. Last matchups have already started. I know it's an exciting time for a number of reasons. I hope you get to watch. I don't know where everybody is. If you get to follow along, if maybe it actually does come with all of these early games, the Christmas ones, the Saturday one, maybe it comes down to the Monday nighter or late Sunday, or maybe we just get a blowout right off the bat. Either way, I'm going to say for the last time this season, best of luck, everybody.